Right then, let's have a look at this drivetrain. Now, we've got screws everywhere, and I have had a bit of a go at this already. So, and we have got little posies there. Here, and we've got a short screw on that end and a long screw on this end, and these are the brush roll ends. There we go. So, one of the ones that I've got of these came to me with broken ends. So if you get something like, for instance, I don't know, a piece of t-shirt that goes in there, it can wrap in there and then push out the end. You've got to be particularly careless for that to happen, but it breaks the end. Anyway, I looked on eBay and I bought some ends for it, because I got this, not this one but the other one, for free with a good battery, and when they came they were aluminium, which is even better. It's very good. So we have a long screw at the back and a short screw at the front. So let's have this other one off. Lift it up and out, and then these come off like that. Okay, and they want a good clean. So now we've got a screw there and a screw there. Okay, and they're short screws in there. I've taken one out already. Then we have a screw just there. There we go. And its partner just there. Okay, a lot of these screws are all the same length, which is a really good thing. Yeah. There's one in the middle here, and I can't remember. Oh yes, that's a long one. Yeah, so we've got those, and then this comes off. Okay. Important, that comes off. Put that to one side. Now, I don't think you need to take this brush bar off here. You could do if you wanted to clean it, and there are 4 screws there, but we're not going to do that at the moment. We'll see if we can get around that. Then we have 4 screws here. And these are the ones that hold the motor assembly in place. Yeah, and they're that standard size screw. This is these are built in a fairly logical way. If you know what the logic is. Okay, so we've undone those 4 screws there. I'm virtually sure we don't need to take that off. We've undone the 2 end caps and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws. Now I think we can turn it over and that comes off. Okay, there's a pin there and a pin there that drop in there. So that's great, so that's out of the way. It actually looks like you didn't need to take those 2 small screws out of there, but it's probably useful just to clean in there. Okay, good. So now we have a screw there. Let's just see if we can zoom in a little bit. A screw there, 1 there and 1 there. Okay. And they're the standard size screws. Slightly shorter screw for there. Okay, now, from what I remember, the motor assembly just lifts out. Oh, there we are. Right, okay. So let's go back to that. So, it does lift out. You just got to jiggle it, okay? There we go. So that screw there didn't need to be removed until you lift this lot out. And there we have the motor assembly. Alright. And somewhere I think we then have to remove that screw. And that is a long screw. Okay, let's just point out a few things. There's 2 connectors there and they just work in those 2 little sockets there. There and there. And the motor connectors, let me just try and get it right, there and there. So as you drop this in to there, it connects everything up. There we go. Right, we've got to get to the side of this gearbox because this is running free at the moment. So what we have to do is, first of all, this assembly comes off like that. Okay, so that's that, and then this comes off. So it's the logical way. You take the grey stuff off first and then the black, and then we've got screws, and I've already taken some of them out in my previous investigation. We've got screws here. And again, they're Torx and they're short ones. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that comes off. And then that pops out like that, and then this lifts out. Where are we? And if you can see, that gear is totally mashed. But it's not a problem. Let me zoom out a bit, because come on, focus. There we go. We've got another one, but it's got a steel gear this time. So there is a bearing that's left in there, so I'm just going to push that out. They are amazing bearings. And in this lot we've got some grease as well. And I am just going to take a bit of that grease and pop it around that bearing there. And then put it some on the back there. It does say grease everything up really well. It says there, please apply grease thoroughly around the cog before use. So I'm just going to bang a load on there first, and then that should fit in there. That bearing doesn't feel absolutely very brilliant. No doubt it'll run in. And then that pushes in there. So now we can put a load of grease on there. We don't want any on that belt, but we want plenty on that gear around there. Alright, I'm just going to wipe my hands. And now we just need to pop this back together, and let's just see if you can see this. You can see the fan turning here. Yeah, and as I fitted this side case, I just hooked it underneath that wire like that. Yeah, so we put 4 screws in there and start putting it back together. Right, I've blown all of that lot out with the airline, and I've blown as much muck as I can out of this lot. Yeah, so now we have to put that back on. And that little clippy bit goes down under there. So you have to do that. Push that in, and then this comes down and clips in place. And then this goes in place. Yeah, and just under there there's a boss there, just down in there, and so this black thing comes over the top of that boss, so the grey bit is underneath the black bit, and then that long screw goes through there, which is that one. that goes through there. Okay, so that's all a bit fiddly in some ways, but there we go. Okay, there's a screw there which will be a standard size one by the looks of it. Okay, there we go. So now we've got some short screws. So the card filled up, which is a bit unfortunate, but standard screws in those two holes there, and you see these, they're like a dovetail, one either side, and those dovetails go in these sockets. So all we do is just ease that down like that, and then those standard screws screw all the way through and go down into the main body, just like that. Okay, this has had a good blowout to get all the bits of muck out of the way. Then what we do is we turn her over, and then more standard screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll just tighten those up. So that's that sorted. So there we go. Now, what do we do next? These have been washed. So, trying to remember how these go. There they go, like that. So there's two short screws, which I can only find one of at the moment, which is a bit unfortunate. Okay, there should be another screw there. No, there's not in the pot. I don't know what's going on there. So, and then we have a long one there, but we get to that later. So those pins, zoom out a bit, move the camera back a bit. That's a bit better. Those pins go in line with there, like that. Okay, so we turn it over. So before we put that screw in, we have to put this in place. Okay, so this makes sense now. So what we've got here is we've got the long screw that goes in there. And then we have a standard screw that goes down either end. Okay, so that gets tightened, that gets tightened, and then once they're in place, we can put the brush rollers in and the end caps. Okay, so we've got a brush roller here, and that goes in and locks in place, and then we have an end cap and I'm feeling that's the wrong way around. That's better. And on these end caps there's a tang that goes down in a little slot down there. But these, as obviously you've seen, are handed. So we pop that one in there and that locks onto the shaft. And then we just pop that in place like that. If we wanted to, we could dab just a little bit of oil on those oil-like bushes. It's not in plastic, there's actually a bit of brass or a bit of bronze there. So I'm just going to give it a little dab of oil, the merest little bit. There we go. Let that soak in for a moment and then drain. There we go. Like this one, and lift, put everything in place, locate it. Come on, behave. There we go. Now, can we remember? I think the long screw went at the back, the short screw went at the front. There we go. Oh, and these are posies. Because this is the bit where the general public is allowed to go. Okay, long screw and short screw, long screw at the back, short screw at the front. Just needs a bit of a squeeze to get that screw to line up. Except then we had a magnetic screwdriver which decided to create a nuisance. And I think we're there. Whoopee! Isn't that great? The question is, well, it's not jammed up solid. I think we'll have to get a piece of carpet out, won't we? And give it a whirl. Well, onto the workbench. So it sort of sounded a little bit noisy, but there's all the muck. Perhaps it just wants bedding in, but there you go, it works. So let's have a sit down. We had one of these that came out of the skip with the charger, with a Duff drive gear, and we had another one that came out of a skip with a charger with a Duff battery. And of course we repaired one by taking the battery out of one and putting it in the other, so that was one done straight away. And then this one, refurb battery with Dyson units and a new gear. Now this was, I think it was £7 delivered, and maybe with a steel gear, you've got steel on steel, it will be slightly noisy. Yeah, it could quite well be a bit noisy, yeah, or noisier, but we'll see how it beds in. But this gear here that I've got in my hand is definitely, you know, is worn out. It's got a lot of sharpness on it, and a lot of the actual teeth are virtually missing. So there you go, never give up. Yeah, if you see one of these in a skip, don't even think about it, just grab it, because from my experience, not only are the spares readily available on eBay, but as you've seen, you can repair them, and they're actually quite good. Yeah, so now I'm just going to take this dust box and take the filters out and give them a good wash, because they're washable filters. Yeah, none of this sort of paper throwaway nonsense. And dry them, give it a good drying out, 24 hours, and we have another Gtech Vacuum. Brilliant. Catch up with you soon. Cheers for now.